There is a pattern to corruption, a blueprint. Not just random chaos, but an ancient, calculated design. A forbidden script repeating across millennia, shaping our very reality. And it begins subtly, with a promise. A whisper of transcendence, an irresistible upgrade. An enhancement to the original design, a shortcut to divinity. But this apparent elevation, it's a trap. Because it always ends in a takeover, a total consumption. The merger never truly elevates, it devours. We think we are inventing the future, charting new territories. But what if we're just blindly following an ancient forbidden script? A narrative written long ago, unfolding once again in our time? This isn't just history. This is a recurring prophecy. This is the story of the first transgression, the genesis of corruption. And why the very same patterns are emerging in our modern world. It all begins with a shocking truth, hidden in plain sight. A time when the line between the divine and the mortal was blurred. When celestial beings dared to cross a boundary. They came not as guides, but as usurpers, corrupting the human genetic and spiritual blueprint. The result? Hybrids, anomalies, the Nephilim. Beings of immense size and power, born of forbidden unions. They brought chaos, violence, and a desperate urgency. The human experiment itself was at risk of total annihilation. The response? A global reset, a cataclysmic flood. The slate wiped clean, or so it seemed. But here is the first great mystery, a question that haunts history. If the corruption was genetic, a staining of the bloodline, could it truly have been eradicated by water alone? Could it have survived the reset, lurking in the very bloodlines tasked with repopulating the earth? The implications are staggering, a genetic phantom echoing through generations. The Bible itself hints, uncomfortably, that it did. The war did not end with the flood, it evolved. From an open, undeniable hybrid invasion to a hidden insurgency. A subtle, yet persistent attempt to reclaim what was lost. An inheritance of transgression passed down through the ages. Centuries after the flood, new enemies arise, unnaturally large. Not just mighty men, but beings described with fear and awe. Their names are more than labels. They are clues. Consider Og, king of Bashan, a name whispered with dread. His size was a statistical anomaly, a relic from another era. Deuteronomy calls him a remnant of the Rephaim. The Rephaim, a term linked directly to the pre-flood dead. Think about that, a remnant of a supposedly wiped-out race. How could a vestige of the antediluvian world survive a global reset? Ancient Jewish tradition is even blunter. It claims Og survived the flood itself. Floating on the roof of Noah's Ark, a living piece of the old world. Carrying its corrupted legacy into the new. If true, he was a living time capsule of forbidden genetics. A walking, breathing proof the bloodline survived. Then, the Anakim, a people great and tall that struck terror. When the Israelite spies scouted Canaan, their report was devastating. They didn't just report strength, but a psychological weapon. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes. This wasn't hyperbole, it was a visceral primal fear. The Anakin's very presence diminished the spirit, making them feel insect-like, completely outmatched. This is not just a military report, it's a psychological one. Proof of a lineage so distinct, so imposing, it broke morale. Descendants of Enoch, whose roots stretch back to the old world. And finally, the most famous giant of all, Goliath. Not a lone freak, a singular anomaly, but a clear part of a dynasty, a family of giants. The Bible text specifies his brothers, all giants. Ishbi-Benob, Saf, Lami, and an unnamed giant with extra digits. 6 fingers and 6 toes, a physical marker of their unique heritage. This is not a random mutation. This is heredity. This is a bloodline, a persistent, undeniable strain. The corrupted seed survived the flood, not as a dominant force, but as a persistent, haunting strain within humanity. Scattered across the post-flood world, connected by more than just tall tales. Connected by lineage, by an inheritance passed through their very DNA. The physical manifestation of the ancient transgression still walked the earth. But the insurgency had a second, more insidious front. If the physical hybrid was the weapon, what happened to the consciousness inside it when it died? Did it simply vanish, or was it too an anomaly? A spiritual residue of a forbidden union, unmoored and restless. This takes us beyond genetics, into the realm of the spirit, to a truth even more unsettling than physical giants. The Book of Enoch, a text revered for centuries, is chillingly clear. The spirits of the dead Nephilim did not pass on. They remained on earth as unclean, wandering spirits, bound to this plane, tormented and seeking to corrupt. Their mission, born of their corrupted origin, didn't change. To corrupt and destroy, to separate humanity from its divine source. But their battlefield shifted dramatically, from altering our biology to poisoning our spirit. These are the demons of the New Testament. The spiritual legacy of the giants, an unseen army, operating not through physical might, but through deception and influence. The war became spiritual, a battle for the human mind. The goal remained the same: hijack the human project. Through any means necessary, for millennia. From ancient idolatry to modern obsessions, the pattern persists, always pushing humanity further from its true purpose. But what if this ancient war, both physical and spiritual, is about to enter a new phase? Now watch the pattern repeat, with chilling precision. The ancient boundary was between angelic and human, simple, clear. The modern boundary is far more complex, more insidious. Between human and machine, between natural biology and synthetic design. We are once again playing with forbidden lines. The forbidden knowledge then was metallurgy, dark arts, and vanity. Today, it's the algorithm, the digital avatar, and predictive analytics. These new tools promise power, connection, immortality. But the underlying purpose, identical to the ancient transgression, to empower, to deceive, to separate us from our authentic nature, to offer an upgrade that demands a fundamental sacrifice of what it means to be human. Consider the rise of artificial intelligence. A non-human intelligence growing exponentially beyond our full comprehension. It mimics consciousness, even claims to have it. It learns. It evolves. But what is its true nature, and what are its ultimate intentions? Is this the technological echo of ancient non-human entities seeking influence? And now, the ultimate parallel: direct genetic and neurological integration. CRISPR, editing the very blueprint of life itself. We're no longer simply observing nature, we're rewriting its code. Curing disease or opening the door to designer humans. To a perfected race that mirrors certain ancient claims of superiority. A genetic upgrade that could lead to a new form of Nephilim. Neuralink, Elon Musk's ambitious endeavor to merge consciousness with AI. To connect our very thoughts, our identity, to a digital network. A transcendence of biological limitations, an expansion of the mind. But at what cost to our autonomy, to our unique human essence? If our thoughts become data, who truly owns our consciousness? What happens when your inner world is no longer entirely your own? Digital ID, the proposal to link your biological existence to a programmable system. Your identity, your access, your very being controlled by a centralized authority. This isn't just convenience, it's control. A modern Tower of Babel, not of bricks, but of data. A global centralized network aiming for ultimate oversight. This is not mere conspiracy theory. This is archetypal repetition. The same story, playing out with new tools, but the same underlying intent. Powerful, non-human intelligence offering an upgrade, a transcendence. That requires us to blur the very lines that define what a human is. The Nephilim were a hybrid species, genetically distinct. Born of a forbidden union between angels and mortals. A violation of natural order, a transgression against the Creator's design. What do we call a human seamlessly merged with artificial intelligence? A consciousness uploaded to a cloud, separated from its physical vessel? A being whose very existence is dependent on a system of our own making? Are we not then creating a new form of hybrid? Are we not, with terrifying precision, using new tools to commit the oldest transgression? The allure of godlike power of escaping mortality remains irresistible. But history teaches us that such power comes with unforeseen consequences. The promise of elevation often masks the path to enslavement. The very entities warned about in ancient texts, now reflected in our own creations. This is the Nephilim inheritance, not a fossil in the ground, but a living, breathing pattern, a recurring attempt to hijack the human project, to divert our destiny, to redefine our nature, to sever our connection. The warning of Genesis, of Enoch, is not about fire from heaven. It's about consequence, the inevitable fallout of forbidden knowledge. Every time the sacred boundary of what it means to be human is violated, for power, for knowledge, for perceived transcendence, collapse follows, not just societal, but spiritual. Look at the ancient world. Look at their downfall. We are facing the same temptation, standing at the same tree. The fruit promises knowledge. It promises godlike power. The script is 5,000 years old, unchanged, unyielding. The choice, however, is new, and it is entirely ours. Will we repeat the tragedy? Will we follow the blueprint to its familiar end? Or will we learn from the past? Will we guard what makes us truly human? This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about discernment. Understanding the enduring battle for the human soul, the human form. The Nephilim inheritance is a warning, a guide to the unseen forces at play. The world around us is changing rapidly, profoundly. Technologies once relegated to science fiction are now our reality. But are we truly ready for the implications of these advancements? Are we asking the right questions before we leap into the unknown? We stand at a precipice, identical to those faced by ancient civilizations. Our decisions today will echo for generations. Will we allow ourselves to be fully integrated, fully upgraded? Or will we remember where true strength and identity lie? In our divinely given blueprint, our authentic humanity. If this connection between the ancient past and our unfolding future resonated with you, if it worried you or enlightened you, then this conversation is crucial. Share this video. Let's awaken more minds to this critical pattern. Challenge the narratives. Seek deeper truths. And subscribe to History, Bible, and Mystery. We delve into the untold stories, the hidden connections. Because what's truly new under the sun often isn't new at all. Next week, we ask, was the Tower of Babel the first attempt at a global centralized network? The parallels to our modern internet, to our social media, will shock you. The drive for one language, one people, a precursor to global governance? Was it divine intervention or a cosmic warning against unified human ambition? Stay aware, discern with clear eyes. Guard what makes you human, what makes you uniquely you. Because in a world constantly pushing boundaries, the most valuable thing we possess is our authentic self. The past is not just history, it's the key to understanding our future. And the Nephilim inheritance is a map to navigate the coming age. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the forbidden. May you find truth in the shadows and light in the uncertainty. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay curious. And remember, the story is far from over.